I turn on everybody's I turn on everybody else's apps and it starts my recording. Makes me laugh. Okay. I'm gonna start even though the count is low. I can see that there's more in the behind the scenes with their cameras off, but I'd want to keep us to a schedule, so we're gonna start now. All right, all right, all right. All right, welcome everyone to the Leader's Edge. My name is Rich Lohman, and I'm going to facilitate this discussion. For those long-standing Leader's Edge participants, we're going through the Optimized Leader Workbook today. We're going through what I call Session 7 because from a uh, an understanding of the Leader's Edge Optimized Leader Workbook. The lessons are broken into 12 different lessons, and I'm going mechanically through it. So this is for new people. This is a workbook you have access to. It's in the resource tab, and you should use it. You should use it every 12 weeks or every 24 weeks, depending on your leadership. And I would say new people, they should use it every 24 weeks until their leadership grows and develops. Then they start using it every 12 weeks. It's a 4-quarter cycle that helps you navigate the year. I say that to you all because there are new people coming into the program, which I'm excited about. Whether they are here today or not, I won't know. But I'm excited to continue bringing more people in. So session 7, and what I just want to do to teach on it is a pivotal point in the workbook. Here's what I believe. I walk around the town that I'm in. I get on Zooms, I get on phone calls, and I ask people simple questions. Simple questions like, do you want better results? And I never, ever, ever have anyone that says, no, I don't. I ask people, that simple question, and every time people say, yes, I want better results. Well, I'm going to let you all in on a little insight and secret. You've been working on generating better results, whether you realize it or not. Inside the Optimized Leader Workbook, the principles are lead yourself, lead others, and lead for results. And the foundation of getting better results is to be a better human. It's to do the activities that you're supposed to do in your role. It's to do it in unison with in relation to other people that you're trying to serve and help. And by nature, if you become very, very focused, you will learn, and I'm going to say the words learn how to get better results. So the reason I say you'll learn how to get better results is from a DISC standpoint. I truly do not believe that any more than 1% of the human population is naturally gifted at getting results. I'm going to say that again. Only 1% of the population is naturally gifted at getting results. Everyone else has to learn how to get results. It doesn't mean that the 99% can't get lucky every now and then. That's why we come up with those crazy sayings like even a blind squirrel can find an acorn every once in a while, or hey, they found the needle in the haystack. Like it doesn't mean that people don't get results, but the predictable nature of results comes from leadership and the development of a person. Uh, I'm going to say when they develop in principle 1 and principle 2, when we get to principle 3, there's a little bit more development that I'm going to talk about in the workbook that people then start to really hone in on what results they're looking for. So foundationally, I'll let you guys know when we talk about leading for results, leadership is not activity. Leadership is not effort. And leadership is not intention. Everybody has the best of intentions to generate great results. I met with a new client yesterday, and he said, I can walk into my boss's office right now and I can lay out the entire idea of how I'm going to generate better results. But that doesn't happen. And I said, why not? So like he has every intention. He has, he can talk about results. And I would say he has amazing effort towards results. And he does a lot of activities, but he's still not generating the results he wants. We have to dig deep into a better understanding of it. Inside of this principle of leadership, leading yourself, or I'm sorry, leading for results, you're going to identify your highest impact priorities. And I'm going to say that we're going to be very specific about the highest impact priorities. I was talking with a person this morning, and I said, I have a simple philosophy that says if you're a salesperson, you're going to find possible clients. You're going to build rapport with them. You're going to, after you build rapport with them, you're going to, start the process of identifying their needs. Then you're going to quote and propose them, and then you're going to overcome any objections and close them. And I said, which one do you need the most of? And he said, I need more prospects. I don't know where my next business is going to come from. And I said, then you need to prioritize finding people. You don't need to prioritize your entire system. You just need to prioritize finding them. He said, mission, check. I'm going to go do it. So the other part of it is you need to evaluate your results honestly. This is a truth check because you're not going to be able to lie to yourself or lie to others because there is a scorecard. We already built the scorecard in session 3 that starts to emulate what we're trying to accomplish. So you have to just get honest and say, this is where I'm underperforming. You'll see in the workbook as I go through it how it flows. You need to distinguish skill gaps from standard gaps. You guys have heard me time and time again, and for those of you that are going to watch this publicly, I believe that there are only 2 reasons that people don't get results. They don't know how to get results, or they don't want to get results. One is a knowledge and skill, one is a standards issue. So be able to distinguish which one it is for yourself is how you grow your leadership. Teaching people how to distinguish which one it is part of leadership. And the last thing is focus your leadership on measurable wins. That's when leadership gets really good, is when you focus the leadership on the measurable wins, not the moral victories. Because a lot of people, especially the I's and the S's in the DISC system, they'll look for moral victories. Well, the meeting felt like it went well. Did you get a win or not? Do you know what a win is? Because that's where, when you get this abrupt with it, when you get this blunt with yourself and with people that you're developing, helping, leading, when you're able to do that, what you'll start to see is that you'll start to get more and better results. So I want you guys, as the Leader's Edge participants, to go on a journey with me by commenting in the chat box if you can. What I want you to do is start to role play this workbook. Start to role play this session of the workbook. Part 1 of it says results reality check. Over the last 90 days, what measurable results have improved? Now, if you hear me say a word and you know that you have a scorecard that says in this category or word that you have measurable results that have improved, I want you to type the word in the chat. Now, you could type 8 words because you are kicking ass at generating better results. But be careful to start saying that these measurable results have improved. Be careful because there's a part in this lesson that is going to challenge you to show it, prove it, and whatnot. So measurable results have improved in revenue. I personally can't say that. Revenue's been off the first quarter of 2026 as related to the first quarter of 2025. It's been off by $4,000 or $5,000 over, tens of thousands of dollars. So I'm not worried about it, but I can't say that revenue improved. Second question that you have to look at is what have you improved when it comes to productivity? Now, again, activity is not productivity. You have to really define what is productive. Second or third question that you could possibly say is your results have improved when it comes to accountability. And I'm going to say you have to actually know what the definition of the word accountability is before you can answer that question. Fourth question is, have results improved when it comes to communication? Some people, that is a tangible goal that they're looking to improve. I work with a company right now where we are deep into the activity and priority basis in restructuring all of their meetings, one-on-ones and team meetings, with the goal in mind to improve communication. Now, that's not an intangible, oh, look at us all sing Kumbaya. No, there is a measurable outcome that forces people back into action when your communication improves. We were deep into a session yesterday where it was in person. I had my flip chart out. I love doing that kind of stuff. But we actually had to tear apart the ending of their meeting, restructure the ending of their meeting. So every person reported on what activities they were walking out of the meeting with to improve results. And they weren't doing that. So the communication was poor. The expectation and communication wasn't there. Some people, especially people with high turnover, are measuring and trying to improve morale. Morale does start to get into the intangible, the feeling aspect of results, but I can measure it based on turnover. If morale is low on a company, then their turnover increases, and so we can still have a scorecard attached to it. Client satisfaction can be measured based on surveys that you do with clients. So if you're going to actually measure it, you're going to know whether client satisfaction scores go up. Personal performance. Now it's less about the individual team and it's going to get into did I build the habits that I wanted to build and did I get better outcomes because of the habits? Now, in it, I ask you guys in the workbook to be specific and say which ones of these did you actually over the 30, 60, or 90 days improve? And most of the time, people can't answer that question because there wasn't something that they were focused on improving. On the flip side of it, what hasn't improved? Uh, you know, what did you say you wanted to improve and what hasn't? Now, if you're following the workbook, then I can tell you that you already said it in a previous session of the workbook what you wanted to improve. So this will be the litmus test of whether you're doing the work of leadership or if you're participating in a discussion of leadership, but there's no intention to actually do the work. Because very specifically, you've already said what you wanted to improve in your leadership and in the results of your organization or for yourself individually. Now, when people start getting confused, this is a big shift that I like to really highlight, is there has to be a priority filter because people, especially right now, misconstrue all of the different firefighting and problems and crisis that they may have inside of their own environment or inside of the organization. And it confuses it, and they think they have more priorities than they do. And the priority filter says you've already said what you want to improve earlier in this workbook, but the priority filter challenges you what top three results matter the most right now. Because when you get very specific about what matters the most right now, then you can't have, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can't talk about all the fires. And I experienced that yesterday, you guys. I was in person with a different client. It was so cool. I got like in person with like 4 different people yesterday. It was mind blowing. Really enjoyed it. But one person said, I just have so much going on. I said, good, write it all out. Now we ranked it in order of most important to least important. And I said, the top three things are those are your priority filter. You have to filter out all the other noise because those top three things will get you 80% ROI on the effort you're going to give to them. So we have to be able to filter out, and then we have to even squeeze it down one more. I allow you in the workbook to have three priorities that matter right now, but which one matters in the next 30 days? And if you can't answer it, that's where you bring questions, even to the Q&A, because ultimately everybody has a problem that needs to be resolved so that they can move themselves towards results. Some people don't have enough clients to call on. And they say, I'm not generating the results that I'm supposed to. Well, you're not generating the results you're supposed to because you're not generating the number of clients in the pool in the equation. If you attract 100 prospects and you know your ratios that 50% of those will do something, then 25% of those will do something, then I should have X amount of new clients. But you're not focused in the right place at the right time. So I want people to squeeze it down to this is the one thing that matters above everything else over the next 30 days, because then your mental focus gets into exactly what you should be focused on each day. Now look at your calendar and look how you spend your time. If you know your number one priority, what matters most over the next 30 days, and then you look at your calendar and it's helter skelter and there's chaos and shit all over the place, you're fooling yourself to think that you're focused on the one thing that matters over the next 30 days. So I want people, this is why people, either results are random, results are systematic but not people driven, or people just do the activity, don't get the accomplishment. When you learn how to get people to get the accomplishment, that's when you have a high performing individual or a high performing team. When people don't know how to do this, I ask people to focus on the skill gap versus the standards gap and really choose the primary obstacle. In the workbook, it says, is it a lack of knowledge or skill? Question mark. Is it a lack of effort or discipline? Question mark. Is it a lack of clarity? Question mark. Is it weak systems? Question mark. Or is it poor leadership follow through? And what it allows people to do is then select it and then answer a subordinate question to it. For example, if it's a skill gap that you have on your team or a skill gap you have personally, what training, coaching, or support is needed to eliminate the skill gap? After that, it goes into, if it's a standards gap, what expectations must be raised or enforced? When you get into the questions, if you can identify which one the gap is and you can answer the subordinate question to it, you're solving the problem. Here's what I have a beef with a lot of leadership that I encompass when they're under-resourced is they know what the problem is. Everybody can look and say, this is what the problem is, but they don't know how to fix the problem. This workbook, by nature, if you can tell me what the problem is and it's one of five gaps, then you can actually answer a subordinate question to that gap that's going to actually teach you how to solve the problem. And I think that's a big thing because there's a lot of people that would say, well, our team is young and they don't have enough training. Show me your training schedule. We don't have one. Well, how are you going to close the gap on skill and knowledge if you don't have a training schedule? Becomes the ultimate truth question of it. Once we get out of identifying that and really solving the how aspect of the problem, we get into personal contribution to results. And this is where people have to be honest and say, what is my tendency? A lot of people have a fear of making the wrong decision, so they avoid decisions. I had one client yesterday, new client, that's not holding people accountable. There's people that have very poor time management, and there's people that have not mastered their emotional control. If they have emotional reactions to absolutely everything, Well, that's your personal contribution that is creating the fires that you have in your environment. There's also over controlling D personality types, some C personality types. They want to over control it, and that is because they don't want to empower people. Secure leaders empower people. Controlling insecure leaders over control things. Lack of clarity is a huge one. I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to ask everybody to get honest with themselves over the next 90 days. Do you have a written roadmap, a plan to get from where you are to where you want to be? If you don't, the how to fix it is to actually tell me, tell yourself, or tell AI where you're at and where you want to be, and ask it to put it in the plan ahead tool that you guys have access to in the resource section. I did this twice yesterday. I said, great, let's make a plan. We did everything, and all of a sudden the person says, okay, I see that this is the first thing I need to do. Now you've had a priority filter and you know that even your activities are prioritized. So for me, this takes all the guesswork out. All of it is eliminated because if you have a lack of something that is personal to you, there's a way to overcome it. There's a how to it. Uh, what is one behavior you guys are going to get to select this in this section of the workbook? What is one behavior you must change immediately? And that's just time to get real and honest with yourself. If you struggle with not knowing which one to select, then you have to talk it out. That's where you bring questions. And I'll ask questions back. It'll become real coaching. Ultimately, the way to produce results is to start creating some wins. You got to get some victories. You got to feel good about yourself. You got to build momentum. And when momentum is in your favor, it's a great exaggerator. You think you're better than you are, but like I remember one time I was a young salesman and I got an order for like a $50,000 lift truck. And I drove from Battle Creek all the way back to Grand Rapids, came into the office to write up the order. I saw my buddy John, wily old veteran, and I said, John, I got an order. He said, what the hell are you doing in here? What do you mean? You have momentum right now. I'd call everybody that you have a quote out there for, and I'd ask them if they're ready to buy too. You killed your momentum by coming in here to write a damn order up when you could write that up at the end of the day. And I'm like, oh, lesson learned that says we have to get some victories under our belt, and one becomes two, becomes three, becomes four. What is one measurable win you can create in the next 14 days ultimately is the question you have for yourself. And you're going to hold yourself accountable to it. The next part is knowledge and skill evaluation. And this is both for yourself and your team, where you get to rate yourself in clarity to your role, decision making, accountability, emotional control, and communication daily. And you're going to figure out where and which skill you need to work on because otherwise you're not going to get results. And then the last part of it is the mentorship and inner circle development. I believe wholeheartedly in this. Some of you that have coached with me one on one, I really push you into maintaining an awareness of who your inner circle is, who your mentors are, who your coaches are. And here's why. John Maxwell looked at me once and said, you want to improve your results. You do three things: change your thinking, change your team's thinking, and change your mentors. And I would encourage every person has to do that. But how do you change your thinking? Well, you acquire new information from books, from podcasts, from mentors. You push it up against the objective that you have. You don't just, start throwing a bunch of shit against the wall, hoping something sticks and say, oh, good, I'm going in this direction. You're trying to acquire knowledge and information that is new to you, new thinking that helps you go in the direction you're supposed to go. I feel like there's so much noise out there that most people, they just grab onto the noise and say, oh, look, we're going to do this. And it has no bearing on the objective and the results that they establish that they are supposed to get. What you will end up doing is creating a 30-day results plan out of this book, and it will force you into a leadership integrity check. Nobody wants to hear those words, but I'm here to tell you. If you really think about the word integrity and the definition to integrity, ask yourself this simple question every day. If nothing changes over the next 60 days, why didn't it change? It's going to come down to your character. Is going to come down to something in your character, either moral character or performance character. And people avoid doing the right things because they don't want to look in the mirror at the end of the day if they don't produce the results. It's called fear. So I'm going to stop there with the recording, with the transcript, and I'm going to make sure that we can have a